Hey, this is Karen with Over the Artsy Moon, and I love to help you create fun and easy paintings that you can do in one sitting or, in a shorter amount of time. So this is something that I'm going to show you how to do one of these roses, and we're just going to create a small little one here. So what I did for this is to take, I took one of my flat brushes. This is a 3/4 inch flat. You could go smaller for this. Of course, it's just a tiny little spot. I'm using mixed media paper, and I'm just going to tone the background here with a little bit of that burnt umber color. This is from Deco Art, and of course you could make your rose bigger, but I would kind of start small. Maybe if you want to just do one, use a square somewhere on your mixed media pad or get a small little mini canvas to do one rose. This, I did 5 in that spot. And how big is this? This one is how big? 8.9 by 8.3. So 9 by 8 approximately. And, you're going to, just depends on what scale you're going with. But for one little rose, I didn't want to have a huge background because it would look a little silly. And then we'll do the big reveal, okay? So you can clean off that brush and then grab your round brush. This is a medium round and about a number 9. And I have some Tuscan red and I have some Hauser dark green. So we're going to use those two colors. I'm going to get both of those on my brush, some of the red, some of the Tuscan green, and we're just going to come and make the center. So if it's really red, we actually want to make it darker. So when you use the complementary color, if you look at a color wheel, it's the color that's opposite on the color wheel. That's the complet with an E, complementary color. So we can add that just to get some darker color in the middle. When you look at a rose, it is all compacted in the middle, right? You don't see all of the petals, but then when it opens up on the edges, you see the light hitting the petals on the outside, and that's how they are showing up lighter to our eyes. Okay, so I have that blob in the middle, and then I just used up the paint on my brush to kind of create some more little parentheses. And then we'll go straight to that red, grab some more, and just add some more of those parentheses. And you can overlap. That one was a little goofy. I'll just make that a little bit bigger there on purpose. And I'll just come and make, I won't make it a perfectly round circle or anything. Maybe we'll have it slightly on a tilt. It's just happening that way. It looks like it's on a tilt. We'll see if it ends up looking like that in the end. Maybe one more over here. And I think that's pretty good. All right, let's see. I think that's good. And then I'm not rinsing my brush. I haven't rinsed it yet. We can grab a bit of that fuchsia color. This one is Royal Fuchsia. And my red, I don't know if I mentioned it, Tuscan red. I've got Royal Fuchsia. These are also Deco Art here. Grab a bit more paint on your brush and hold your brush a little bit farther back. Now, if you hold your brush way up here, you're going to be able to put it exactly where you want, but sometimes it's good to have a little bit of wiggle room where your painting is not going to turn out exactly the way you thought. So hold your brush back a bit, add some more of those paint strokes. You can come farther out if you want. Just see what happens. That one made it a little goofy there, so I'm going to pull that across there. If I don't like that later, I can always put the leaves there and see what happens. All right, let's get a little bit of that lighter pink. This one is baby pink, and you can always add white to your reds to make them a lighter color, but I just try to keep it super easy. So if you're a brand new painter, you're not sure if you want to do a lot of this, this is a good way to try it out and see with craft paints whether you like doing painting, and then you can always go and invest in more expensive paints later on. So I'm just going to keep making these parentheses, and I can, as I go with this lighter color, I'm going to go farther out, but I do want to just come back in and give it a little bit of a curve in there. All right, so we can do just a bit. As I mix, as I add this color, it's blending with whatever is below. So it might start to look a little different than mine because you're getting a different blending happening on your canvas. I'm just going to take this red and blend that a little bit farther down. There we go. Okay. So you may or may not like what's happening here, but don't worry too much about it. It's all good. I'm going to go ahead and get my I think this one's a number 11. This is a an angle brush, and I'm just trying to decide whether I want to use it. I used it for this one, but you see how much bigger or farther those paint strokes went. So let me grab a slightly smaller one. Okay, this one is hard to read because it's got paint on it. Number 5, it looks like. You know, every paintbrush manufacturer has their own numbering system. So we never quite know, but I'd say it's about, you know, a 3/8 inch wide. So get quite a bit of paint on your brush. This brush may not be very good. Let me grab another one. Let's see what I've got here. Sometimes you kind of use them and abuse them. And, you know, when you're making, sometimes I use this, and I think that's when I wreck my brushes. So even if I clean them well enough, sometimes they still do stuff like that. So take some of the dark green. That's my Hauser dark green. Take some eucalyptus leaf, and then you're going to put both of those colors on your brush, and we'll see how this brush does. So you can start with the point toward the rose and just pull out. Okay, and just make, like, I usually tend to do a few at once. Okay, so we're not going to see all of them. At this point, I mean, you could take the tape off, but let's just see what happens. I'm just going to do this, and we'll just do a few here and there and see how it's looking. And I probably would rather have them over here. See how the colors are all the same. I'm actually going to pull that one off. Don't love that one. I'll figure that out later. I can fix it and see what happens. So I'll just put a little bit more of maybe we'll put a little bit of yellow onto our brush with our dark green. And we'll just add some of those. And we'll just get a little bit of that color in there. Okay. And let's go back to our rose. So we're going to stick with our round brush for a little bit, and then we might switch to our liner brush. So a little bit of fuchsia. Let's take some yellow and mix those up together. Mix a good amount because then it's easier to use it how you want. So if you want more of a peachy, oops, I actually ended up adding blue there by accident. Not what I wanted to do, so maybe I'll mix it right here. Fuchsia and yellow. Okay, I've got quite a bit. It's not as light as I'm liking it. Maybe it's okay. Yeah, it's a little more peachy. I can just come in here and add a few strokes. Maybe I'll add a little bit of white. That will make it a little more opaque, so it's giving me good coverage. Now, if you cover it over the green, you might end up mixing that green in. So just be aware, it's not the end of the world, but if you do end up getting that green in there, it's probably not going to give you quite the look that you want necessarily. Okay, and then let's switch to our liner brush. We'll go with the white and some of that pink. And then let's just come in here and we'll make a few little strokes. White and pink on our brush. And you're not trying to overdo it here. If you keep on working it and overworking it, you will probably get a result that you might not love. So I would just be very careful, selective where you add these. Okay, and you can hold your brush farther back if you want. Gives you less control. You could make your strokes a little wiggly on the outside. That will give you a little more of a little bit more of a interesting shape. But it's up to you. Okay, and then if you think you did overdo it a bit, maybe I need a little bit of dark here, I'll just pull in a little bit of red. I'm going to use that red still with a bit of white, and I'm going to come toward the center here. Just give it a little bit of a curve and a curve. They're not going in a circle and a spiral. I'm just adding a bit there just to get a bit lighter of a color there. Okay, so here's what I've got. And I think the only part I want to adjust a bit is right there. Let me try just taking that red right onto my brush here. We'll just put it at the bottom. This is giving me a nice highlight there, but I want to just narrow that up a bit and make it look a little deeper there. Maybe I'll take a bit of that green on the brush I know it's a rose, but when you blend it with that red, you're getting more of a dark, dark, dark red. Okay. Okay, so anywhere you need to add a bit more depth, you can come in with that darker color. So if you really lightened it up too much, you could either just start over and practice, or you can add a bit more. Now it seems really dramatic, like a black rose almost. So I will come back in and just add a bit more of that fuchsia. It will blend since this is wet, but I'm just gonna go very lightly on top and see what happens. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do here, let's see if I want to add more green in a minute, but I'm going to take some of that blue with my detail brush, or my round brush here, and just bring that blue in. And I'm coming around, but leaving a bit of that gap between the rose and color I'm adding. Okay, so there is a bit of the green. Oh, I was going to cover this part up. Okay, that's easy enough. So I'm not getting great coverage with this blue. I'll come back with a bit of white in places. Right here, I'm just bringing it in between these leaves that I painted. A bit here on the edge. If you overlap a bit, it's really okay. As I used to tell the kids when I was teaching, it's not the end of the world. It's just paint, right? We can adjust it. I'm not sure I like this one up here. I'm going to take that away. It's still a little bit wet, so I'm getting some green in there. That's okay. We're not going to get too much of this background color in here. I'm going to add some white in here toward the edges. And then once I take this off, I'll have a better idea with my leaves if I want to add some more, see what I want to do. I created this artificial border for it, so we're going to see what happens. Okay, let's do our big reveal. This is just painter's tape, but you could, so if I usually would say if you're using watercolor paper or something, just like you would tap it off. Okay, so if this was, you were just applying it first, I would put it on some fabric, pretend my arm has fabric on it, and get some of that tackiness off. This is just mixed media paper, so we're just seeing what's happening here. So you got a little bit of a frame going on. I did have a little bit of bleed there, but it's not too bad. And I can just come back in. Maybe I will just take, I'll pour some of the brown. And I'll take that bigger angle brush. I'm going to flip and flatten my brush. You can see I was practicing my roses earlier. And then I can just come here. I'm going to use the skinny edge and just make a little border there. It's not straight. It's okay. I can come down here. Whoops, that one's definitely not straight. That's okay. That should be my motto, right? That's not straight. That's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay to have a mess, right? We like to, have fun with this stuff. Okay, I know it's not looking. I need to do a little bit of work with my greenery, but even like this, it's kind of cute, right? Let's do some little dots in here. Actually, I'll do a little bit of trying to decide what I want to do. Maybe I'm going to get a little bit of yellow and a little bit of green. Just mix that to a later green color. And I'll just put a little bit of that in here. Okay, so I'm just going to create a bit. And maybe we'll just keep going with this here and there. Just a bit higher. And it'll just make it look like it's part of a bigger picture. A little bit of white on there. Maybe a little blue. I'll just blend those in a bit. Very abstract, very loose. Okay, and then I can take some of this color and pull it here. So if I want that blue, I could pull it in some highlights with a green. And you could have done this before you took the tape off if you wanted, but a little yellow green mixed in here. So you have some of that color in. I could take the part where I bled under the tape and just put a little bit of white. Now I've got a little bit of water on my ferrule. That's that silver part, so you just got to make sure you don't have the water on that part, but you can just then come and do a quick little repair. And you can see something like this would make a lovely little Mother's Day gift for somebody who you love, and maybe it is your mom, maybe it is grandma, it's somebody close to you. Just say, or anytime you want to say, I'm just thinking about you, and it's a lovely thought, right? So here is what it looks like up close. And if you're in the Artsy Moon Paint Club, I will add this for you guys so you can see this one. I did a quick recording of it. But here, this is a little Mother's Day gift for anybody who wants to paint something for Mother's Day, or even if you're painting it for yourself. That is so nice and something great to do. We love these little creative times, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate you.